Yeah, I got some red ink here, what I'm putting on, but I need to make sure I don't mess up which side these goes on. Feel free to chat to me if you want. Kind of love the color red. See, this one needs a little bit at the top. Good morning. Yeah. So I got this one red and this one red. Want to get that fade where it just fades in nice and easy. But anyway, I did two coats. I did a coat of orange. Now this one goes. Oh, I think I forgot my red. Did orange on that? Yeah, I don't know. This one goes that. Feel free to join in and chat, man. All right. That looks pretty all right. I need to go a little bit in there. I want a nice fade transition. Uh-oh. Got a little run right there. There we go. Looking a lot better. Match up on this. I need to go a little bit on this. All right. Anybody want some music? Now this one's going to be just solid red. I'm using this cheap red. I bought it like the hobby store. I guess it's India ink. Waterproof pigment ink. Permanent pigment ink. Holds a line without spread. Flows smoothly without drying. Non-clogging. Non-toxic. Red India ink. I don't know. It was just some cheap ink they had at Hobby Lobby. If anybody knows what Hobby Lobby is. But anyway, it was like $2. So now it's my go-to ink. Oh. Oh, that looks pretty. Now I got this one to do over here. And we're going to hit it down here. Okay. I'm going to get these little high spots right here. Got to be kind of careful so you don't have like these little blowouts. All right, what else we got? We got some more legs. Okay, we're just going to run it around the top. Get a dry tip. Fucker. Oh. All right, there we go. I'm gonna hit this right there. But the two colors I use this color. This is Bullpark red, and I use a ink on top of that. I use this ink, and then a red on top of that. There we go. Look at that beautiful red. Boy, looking good. All right. All right. Got all them pieces done. That's all the red I needed to do. So I'm gonna go clean up the brush real quick. Oh. Be right back. Be right back. So that's where we're at right now. I just had to clean up my airbrush. Anybody likes to hear some music? If you want to say hello in the chat, go ahead. We're all open ears. Yeah, I was looking at the new Warhammer box. What they have for 30K. Oh, that was an awful box. But anyway, so this is what I got so far. Now I'll work on some. This is the carapace so far. So we got this going on. I think I got a little white overspray on it. That kind of sucks. But anyway, that's the carapace with a flat put on it. I'm not sure if I like the flat. I'm still up in arms about it. But I can always go back and fix it, you know? Anyway, I might keep the shiny red. I kind of like the shiny red. Use some purity seal. But that's where I'm at right now, guys. And ladies, I got my reds down, and now I'll mask all that off, and I'll start my white. But I need my red to dry first. So, but yeah. So these are the three colors I use: red, this red, and then I highlighted it with this yellow, and then I sprayed it with this India ink red. And I got this, like, I don't know, it's kind of, I call it a flesh terror red. It's pretty color. And then my carapaces look like this. Yeah. I'm not sure if I like the flat or I like the shiny gloss. I haven't figured out which one I like yet. I kind of like the gloss over the shine, over the flat, but I'm not really sure. But it looks really good on the table. But anyway, and that's what we got going on right now. So now I'll start on our silver pieces. Well, I need something to put my paint in. What color we got right here? This is a dark aluminum, silver. I got steel somewhere around here. Steel. Steel. All right. Kind of mix this up some. But yeah, I was kind of surprised about the new box set for 30K. I kind of want to get into it, but I don't know. $300, that kind of sucks, you know? So, this is a bottle cap I'm using for palette. I don't know. I can't find my palette, so we'll go with this bottle cap. But now we're just going to paint all this crazy stuff on it. I probably want to keep that black. So trim is going to be black. I don't know. This paintbrush kind of finished. But yeah, we just paint it around. Sorry. Could airbrush this, but I don't really like putting metallics in my airbrush. So I really like this steel. It really makes it look like shiny and oily. But yeah, we're getting in all these spots. these little spots right here. Oh. Got something in my eye, man. Hang on. Oh. So how's everybody's day going? So I got these 4 armatures, but I really like to get these armatures done. Oh, right now I'm painting a armature for my 40K army, and this is the what I got going on right now, and this is the legs. So we're over here. Yeah, everything's going good right now. Yeah, the color is really cool. I painted these carapace right here. I use a flat by Color Forge matte, but I think it needs to be more gloss. I like this gloss over here. And my color scheme is red and white, and of course you can't really do white without having an airbrush. But everything's going on pretty good. Yeah, I was really upset about, not upset, but that 30K stuff what they had brought out with the Saturn Terminators. Yeah, I was looking at the box and they wanted, like, in the US they want $315 GW, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. So they give you this, I don't know, some kind of thing you can set up and shoot. I call it a terrain piece, and a giant Terminator, which just is upscaled Saturn Terminator. I was like, what the deal on that, man? They really need to get some creativity going on. But anyway, so, but then I noticed at the game shop that old, like 30K box set is gone. I never really bought into 30K. I mean, you know, it is what it is. What do any of you viewers think about that 30K stuff? But there's a tournament coming up pretty soon, and I kind of want to get this army, what I'm working on, done. I got something kind of cool for it. I got a warhound, so I'm thinking about running armatures with a Warhound for a tournament just because I got one and just to see what happens. I don't know if it's the shock value or something, but the Warhound's like 700 points, so it's not that outrageous. I think it was 700 points. I'm not really sure. I had to look that up again. But I'm glad that you like the paint scheme. Yeah, I didn't really want to go with all these hazard stripe because I want this like a Mechanicus army. So, I kind of lean towards that dark Mechanicus. So here in the future, you'll see some models, dark Mechanicus models coming out for my army. Of course, you got a lot of freedom because they don't really have anything too much from Games Workshop on Dark Mechanicus. But I'm very interested in Dark Mechanicus. What's all you guys' thought on Dark Mechanicus? But we're just putting this what is this airbrush Vallejo steel color on, and it gives a really nice oily look. So, and then what I'll do is I'll take the airbrush and I'll run some inks over it. I just got this new airbrush, so I really enjoying it. I had some really cheap airbrush, and I'll tell you, there's a reason why they're cheap. But anyway, so I'm trying to come up with a list of my army, what I'm going to use, and I could go with two knights and a Therian knight, and or I could go with. I'm trying to think how to make the army list because I kind of want to throw in this Warhound Titan just because I have one and I can. But this is my first live stream. Well, I tested it. But anyway, so if there's any mistakes or anything, please bear in mind that it's my first live stream. So we will see. I don't really know how all this stuff works. I do like doing my 3D like stuff, but I want to make a full movie sometime, like Warhammer style action movie. But I'm kind of it charges by the second to generate all those like movies, so I really ain't got the cash to do a full movie. So that's kind of a bummer. I got a whole bunch of creativity going on, but I don't have a sponsorship or anything like that for making my 3D movie, so kind of sad. I just want to hit these. Yeah, my first army was Flesh Terrors. So and I had a black and red scheme going on, and I really like the Flesh Terrors look. Of course, their logo, I go with an alternative logo because the one logo it kind of look orky. Nothing against orcs or anything, but I don't want that orky look. If I wanted orcs, I'd get orcs. So I used the teardrop with like the world eaters like world on it. Yeah, this one's looking pretty nice. So this paint scheme is going to be white, and red and black trim. So the front of this is going to be white, but I have to let all the ink dry before I tape up to paint the white. And then I'll use some masking to take care of that. I need to find a place to set this. But anyway, this is how I do it. I don't know. I'm not refined too much on the way I'm doing it. But yeah, I'm just kind of globbing this, and then what I'll do is I'll highlight it with like 3 other colors, 3 other silvers, and then from there I'll just spray some inks on it. I kind of like this combination of pink, like purple ink, what I did on these legs. It's kind of looks kind of cool, like a purple and some brown, and then highlight it out. I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be a really nice army. But I moved to a new house, so there's a painting competition in Rochester, Minnesota. I wanted to go to, and it's so sad that I really didn't have time to paint anything up. My friend said just grab something off the cabinet, and I'm like, I don't know. Out of model collection, but I want something fresh. My wet palette is a Mountain Dew cap, if anybody wants to know. I really wouldn't call it a wet palette. I guess my palette is a Mountain Dew cap. But anyway, I have a palette, but I don't know where it is. So it is what it is. But you don't need like high speed tools. You just need a few good tools. I need to let this dry a little bit. Now we'll get to the spears. These are some beast guns, man. I think I got some fuzz somewhere around there. Yeah, I used to have this house that had like wall to wall 1960 shag carpet. Dude, if you dropped any pieces on it, they just disappeared into the wrath of, like, I don't know. That carpet was nasty. But now I'm in a new house and it has like no carpet. I'm very happy. It works out really great for modeling. When you lose something, it's not disappeared. I was thinking if I should paint this gun red like the other one or not. I'm still debating about it. I can always paint it red later, I guess. I'll just paint it all like this silver. This is steel, but I will leave these parts open for interpretation. But anyway, this air model color, man, it just goes on so easy. One stroke. Check that out. It's just so easy. But yeah, I just kind of slap it down. It doesn't really matter. I'm thinking these cylinders, they should have some brass on them, but I want to do those little edges right here. And then these little square parts, I'll probably paint them red, and the skulls like a bronze looking color. But yeah. Yeah, I started live streaming and my mom came over and she came to talk with me. And so then I had the conversation with the mom. I don't know anybody deal with that. But anyway, she's like, it's kind of funny. Like, what are you doing? I'm painting. I'm live streaming. But I just want to share some of this hobby time with you guys who have been subscribed or unsubscribed on the channel. And I really hope you appreciate. It's not that hard to live stream. It just takes a little effort. And I guess you could be kind of shy about it, you know? Of course, it's kind of hard to paint with the camera in your face, but you know, it is what it is. We got this piece all done. I got a whole bunch of more detail to do for it, but it looks pretty good. Now we'll do this other one. But yeah, we got four of these. Go away. Four of these armatures to paint up. So, but this is basically how I do my silver base coat. Is just kind of, this air color is very thin, so you can just like slab it on really quick. It destroys a paintbrush though, but you know, or you could shoot it through a airbrush. I do like running metallics through an airbrush, but it takes forever to try to get all the metallic flakes. And then when you paint later with the airbrush in some other sessions, the airbrush will shoot out a lot of metallic paints. So flakes on your paint job. So if you do use an airbrush for painting your metallics, you probably should buy a cheap one just dedicated to airbrushing metallics. I mean, I got this H&S airbrush, but I really wouldn't want to shoot metallic paint, through that brush. Of course, there you can always do your metallics as a non-metallic, which, man, that will. I don't think I really want to do that with that. I just think that takes so long to do. But anyways, okay, done. Everyone's so quiet today. Cat got your tongue. You know, these little skulls are pretty cool. I don't know. I think they could have came out with some different type styles of weapons for armatures. I got a 3D printer. I can print some really cool ones off. I might do that later, but later on. I got this like saw, what looks pretty cool. But the Forge World book on knights isn't isn't too inspiring. I do like reading those books on their history, on the battles and stuff, but there isn't. There's one dedicated book on knights. And yeah, it's. I just find it not inspiring. But I got this Knights Army box, like Strike Force. I got a good deal on it, and I'm like, let me do these knights. Or else it would have been Sisters of Battle. I don't know. Nuns in Space. You know what I mean? Alrighty. I'm just waiting for it to dry a little bit. I guess I could do like the professionals, use some blue tech. Like I'm not gonna. I'm kind of a cheap Charlie, so no blue tech. Of course, I probably should plug my channel and say, "Hey, I have this great paint palette over here, and if you want, you can order. I'll send you your own Mountain Dew cat, and you can get the Lord of War hammer, custom, green, palette." But that looks pretty nice. And of course, you guys got to see this get painted. Of course, I already put 2 layers of paint on it, but there you go. That looks pretty good. And then I'll use some aluminum, dark aluminum, brighten that up some. So now we got all these little arms to do. I try to keep it from here because when I put them in, I'm going to slide to turn them, and then if I want to change weapons, I just carry the top off, and then I can change weapons. I don't need the magnet or anything because you can actually just slide them in, twist them, and then always take them in and out. But you don't want a lot of paint buildup on your sides, so you can twist them and slide them out. So there we go. That's how we do it. There we go. Perfect. And of course, this air color, you can't beat it. It just goes on so easy, and you just kind of have to daub it like that. No specialness to it. It gives it a real oily look. But I do kind of like if you let some black come out, it looks good too. Oh, we got another big gun here. Let's do this one real quick. Yeah, so just start dabbing it on. Keep it nice and smooth. Make sure you ain't got no hairs in your paint job. That kind of looks like that kind of sucks. But yeah. But I have found these metallics are the best. These Vallejo Air metallics. Everybody should use them. I'm not saying it because of Vallejo. I'm just saying because they're good. Yeah, so and of course, they have the new I call them space dwarfs. They got the new space dwarfs, what they brought out. And they got a new box set for them. I don't know why they coming up with all these, like when I say they, GW coming up with all these weird names for all these fashions. I mean, I don't know. They're all like so serious about the IP, IP, IP. Like I play a lot of video games, and there's a lot of games, but they survive forever on mods. So if you kill your modding community, and even here, if you're gonna kill your like kit bashing community, and kit bashing has become very expensive. But I mean, unless you're using a 3D printer, if you're buying kits, and I do know people who they're just buying kits. They buy like Forge World kits and bash them with other kits, and I'm like, man, how do you do that? I mean, that I mean, how you do it? You got some cash, but I'm like, that's it. Just feels like a waste of money. You know what I mean? And we all love our hobby, so we want as many space marines as possible and equipment. You know what I mean? So, but there was a time when you got like two rhinos back in the '80s, and you could get like $20. You got like 40 marines. But of course, they did kind of look horrid. But I feel for people who are just getting into the hobby. I really do. The good old days of building a giant army. But the sculpts do look really good. Yeah, I kind of wanted to make this Dark Mechanicus army, but I wasn't sure if like use chaos, like war dogs, or these knight armatures. So I did take a coloration of the Dark Mechanicus. That's what made me get the white and red color schemes. Um, got a lot of these little things to paint. Oh, I think my cat left me a hair or something. I don't know. Yeah. There we go. Another one bites the dust. There we go. Yeah, I kind of killed this paintbrush, eh?
Daddy, I can hear. Huh?
But anyway, but yeah, I really have some cool idea for Dark Mechanics models. You know, let's paint this little machine gun thing. this little machine gun thing, I don't know what you call it, weapon. It looks like something an orc should have. Paint some crazy checkers and diamonds on it. It'd be an orc weapon. Really cool for orcs. How many people play orcs? But yeah, someone ordered this for Christmas, this box. It was a night box set, Strike Force, and they never picked it up at the shop. So I was down there at the game shop kind of looking around. Shout out to Now and Then. And he's like, hey, they just put this Strike Force. And the guy didn't want it. And so, yeah, I got a really good deal on it. He's like, so, all right, I'll take it. But I was planning to build a nice anyway, but like more Dark Mechanicus ones. But I was actually tooling around looking for, I don't know what I was looking for that day. Whoops. But anyway, I ended up buying this box. Now I'm painting up the 4 armatures. I really need to get this done. But anyway, when you're doing this like base coat like this with this air paint, you can just slob it on really fast because that's the way it rolls, man. Just slob it on and it'll look good. I mean, but you do need, I suggest just a black base coat. I mean, a black primer. Oh no, I didn't want to paint that. I plan to paint that shield like white, half red. Yeah, just kind of slob it on. I always see these guys when they're painting, they like got the tip of the brush like beep beep beep. I'm like, come on, man, how are you gonna paint all those models? I'm like, you got an army to paint, you gotta like slab it on fast, man, and make it look good. Like this. It's how you do it quickly. And I'll do a shout out. This is a $5 pack of like paintbrushes, synthetic, non-Selinsky sable. They work really good for slobbing your stuff on real quick. So yeah, don't use an expensive paintbrush to do this. Don't use a game workshop. Don't use an army painter. Just go to a hobby shop, a art store, buy a 6-pack of paintbrushes for like $5, and then use that for your metallics. Save your good brushes for when you're doing really good detail and you're not using like metallic paints and stuff like that. You know, a metallic paint, it fries out a paintbrush so quick. You don't want to like $14 paintbrush and then like fry it out on one session of paint metallics, you know? Buy you a 6-pack of paintbrushes for $5. Use them like that. when they're done, you don't. And usually, if you go buy them, buy like 2 packs of them. Like spend $10 on like because there's a lot of crappy paints you can use. You can use those paintbrushes for and save your nice ones for painting faces, using good paints, stuff like that. That's my advice on paintbrushes. Yeah, we're getting these knocked out, man. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I got. Yeah, yesterday I was painting with the airbrush and it kind of bubbled up on me, and I kind of see I got some splatters on my top of my guy. Kind of sad. All right, we got another little gun over here, and then everything else has to be painted again with reds. Anyway, you see, like this wasn't like didn't have primer all the way over it, so when I put this on, it didn't look as nice as if I have that black primer like solid on it. All right, there we go. Maybe later I'll drill out that barrel or something. I don't know. It's like a flamer thing anyway, so don't really need to do that. All right, let me go rinse out the paintbrush, and we got all our silver stuff done. Be right back. Gonna wash out the paintbrush. So, any of you guys have a project you're doing or anything? Just chat about it. I'd be quite interested to see if you guys are working on anything in the audience. But we got all our silver done. We got all our red done. All right. So, this is that what we got going on right now. So we got these armatures, 4 of them. Here's your legs, and I use a purple ink spray on top of them. Like I did them silver, like that steel, and then dark aluminum highlights. And but when I painted that steel, I just sprayed a little bit of purple ink, and it gives it kind of a neat look. These are my tops. What I got going on. Sorry, my English isn't the best. I can't think of what stuff is called. But anyway. And we got this one. And I did a front red. And of course we have this top we saw earlier. I kind of try to change up the color scheme. Like this one's a half and half. This one's like quartered. This one's a stripe. And this one's a half. Oh, I'll be right back. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now. Then we have the heads to paint. I'll show you one of the heads. They're like white. Wait, let me get up there. Well, I'll probably call it a quits here. I got to wait for all my paint to dry, but I'm glad to share this project with you guys, and thank you for everybody for watching. And yeah, so this is my project, what I got going on right now, and I'll call it quits until I can wait for that paint to dry. But yeah, that's what that purple sprayed in, purple and brown ink. Just nothing special, just some ink. I use pretty cheap ink. I get it like Hobby Lobby or Michaels or wherever. If they have ink on sale, I usually buy it. And I really like painting with inks. So if you want to paint with inks, this is the way you can do it. See, this one has the flat spray on it, and this one has kind of a glossy spray. I really like how this one is looking. But anyway, so I'm going to call it later, guys, and talk to you later. Have a good day.